Hello. Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. How was your lunch? Did you make new friends? Did you meet new business partners? Did you set up new ventures? Oh, awesome. I'm happy to hear that. This is exactly why we are here. And now I'm going to kick off the last plenary session of the summit. It will be the last session held in this conference room. It will take around an hour. We were supposed to have 6 speakers, but I'm so sorry to inform you that 2 of them just couldn't make it because of other last-minute engagements. And I'm talking about Belkis Vasquez-McCall of McKinsey and Michał Joga, who is supposed to be our last speaker. But we have 4 wonderful speakers coming up. And the first person is Paweł Wasilowski, who is head of research and development department at Samsung Poland. He actually quite impressively has been involved in the IT/tech scene since the very, very early days, since 1996. So over then, he participated in projects which really established the internet as we know it today. And now, together with his outstanding team, as he enjoys to stress it, he participates in projects which establish which change and reinvent the way we use television. Paweł Wasilowski.
Okay. Can't hear me, unfortunately. Well, it's quite crowded room. I was expecting when I'm going to speak in the afternoon that everybody will decide, oh, hey, it's almost done, let's go shopping. And I can assure in Warsaw there are shops, so still surprised why I'm still here. Anyway, first, before I start, surprisingly, when I was coming here by the taxi driver on our SK Rock radio, there was going a song of the Guns N' Roses, Paradise City, you know, Paradise City where the grass is green and girls are pretty. And here, by that saying, I would like to say thank you very much to the team of Perspektywy for doing that such a great event. Why we don't give them a warm applause? Okay, well, when I was asked to come and speak like a keynote speaker here, I was trying to figure out why so many people may decide to come to that event. And I was thinking, and I figured out that the reason probably is you would like to manifest that you are devoted to, you're motivated to devote your talent to the IT industry, and you would like to manifest that barriers and hurdles you meet on your road actually waste some of this talent. And I think this event really proved it. So by having said that, for my presentation, I decided to bring a bit of my experience. This is a person who lived in several countries. I don't live in my home country. I had been a subject of diversity programs. I would like to share my approach, how I did assess, am I in a diverse organization or am I not? So let's start it then. Then my presentation goes like a diversity measure and wisdom. And the guy over there is the only scientific fact in my presentation. Anything else is just my thoughts. So let's start it though. Well, before we start it, I need to put at least some theory behind. And I have a question. We have 3-4 pieces here. I would like to raise your hand if you believe a 10th person from you is sitting a person who really values diversity and inclusiveness. So if you believe 10 people from you there is a person who values that diversity, raise your hand, please. Okay, thank you very much. We seem to be very, very open. And the way I did that is because that is one of the approaches we really measured inclusiveness and diversity. This is a subjective measure, and such measure goes to a simple formula like satisfaction is really realization divided by the expectations. So what you do, who provides realization? Typically in organizations, this is the organization. And who brings the expectations? Well, the expectations comes from the organization first, society, and the personal people value. And then going that the math, so if the organization is so good enough to realize the expectations they delivered, we may end up with the formula like satisfaction is 1 divided by society multiplied by the personal values. And you see that if you want to grow up a satisfaction, the only one thing you can do is bring this up. And this is what we're talking about today. When we talk about the inclusiveness, I would like to just share a few words about the diversity inclusiveness itself. And I would like to apologize to the tech environment here. With this math, I'll probably never get a physics Nobel, but probably I'm good enough to run for a politician. Then let's go and see what the difference is between diversity and inclusiveness are. First point is what motivates or what is the driver. In the perspective of diversity, the driver is a legal point. It comes for the avoiding penalties, regulations, things like that. When we talk about the inclusiveness, we move to the business area. So this is a business motivations, like you would like to increase your pool of talents, you would like to enter new markets, you would like to collaborate with the society around you, all these kind of purposes. When we talk about the nature of the change, why we're doing certain things or reason, obviously for the diversity it comes from the outside, while when we're talking about inclusive organization, we're talking about the strategy. And when you talk about the strategy these days, especially IT industry, what is the company? Well, company is not anymore people who work for a particular brand, because we're connected so tightly with our customers. Almost every company collects a lot of feedback through the internet from their customers. And this feedback is actually the input to improve our processes. So our customers at the same time are our suppliers. So we do one company is a customer plus the organization itself. Therefore, this is the strategical part. Then you have visible, invisible perspective. So for the visible parts are like race, gender, things like that. When we talk about the invisible, we are talking about things like beliefs, religion, things you cannot spot first time. Then implementation. Usually diversity goes in the demographic implementations. When we're talking about implementation over inclusiveness, we're talking about the cultural change. And the last one is a target. We go about the minority focus, while for the inclusiveness, we talk about everyone. So this is a little theory. And what is happening here? Regarding we're looking for diversity or inclusiveness, we have 5 words: motivation, reason, scope, approach of the implement, and the target. And how to figure it out? We're in a diverse organization. Well, we're in a corporate world, people like me who spend half of their life. First thing we do is ask for measurements. Once we get a measurement, we have a KPI, and there we go, put the goals. Cool. Then what we end up with is kind of this story. We bring data, put the data on, bring the KPIs in. And let's comment a bit about the KPIs as such. This is my first step. I look into it. And first, when you decide look into the division of the KPIs, this is the first step you can understand the organization. There's one simple definition about the good KPI. KPIs are like jokes. If you have to explain them, they're not good. Second thing is about how we do work with the KPIs. Well, most of the time we go like in a meeting, sit down, oh, KPIs are green, let's do some serious business. If you see this in an organization, for me, this is a message, I'm not at the diverse place. Why? Because if you remember yesterday, the vice minister, she said, well, when I was approached, they asked, okay, you're a lady, why don't come? But I don't understand that. It doesn't really matter, come. I have a KPI to meet. So when you talk about the serious organizations, KPIs must be looked at regardless of the side they are. Remember, what is red and what is green is our subjective decision, not a reality. Then next thing about the KPIs we look around is probably how we distribute them. Top-down is not bad idea, but we have to adjust them to the layers. If you see just a progression, for me, it's a very negative message. Progression down, top down, same KPI. So you end up in an organization of 3 people, and you got a KPI. 50% of your staff must be women. I've got 3 people. 50%, this is what boss said. That doesn't sound like a proper way to distribute the KPIs as well. And another thing, KPIs are very good for dynamic measurements. And we very often focus on the last number because we are, unfortunately, as Richard Semler says, we are a quarter-based animals. If you don't meet the quarter numbers, you're actually gone. So having said that, seems like if I put the KPIs properly, I analyze them properly, and that's all those things, then I probably can end up with beautiful numbers. Well, before I said is that possible or not possible, let's look what sort of numbers we can collect for the diversity. There are 2 different things, like objective and subjective area. Objective is mostly demographic measurements. When you talk about the subjective, this is surveys. And this is another spot very interesting to assess organizations. Before the surveys, some organizations, what they do, this definitely is motivation. For the time you put the survey, organizations start communicating to people. Oh, we have a survey 3 weeks from now. Let's tell the people what we've done. If you see this approach, ask yourself where you are. Okay, so let's assume all these things are good. Is that organization diverse? Most of the managers love to think so. And probably they're true until such thing happens. Well, the guy here, for the people who don't know, this is Josip Brekalo, 20 million euro player of Wolfsburg. What happened September this year, Wolfsburg put a diversity program to manifest their support to LGBT organizations. And they said, all our teams regarding the age, they're going to play, the captain is going to play with the armband in the rainbow color. And they announced that. And immediately, this guy went to the Twitter and said, I'm very tolerant to my friends who are belong to the LGBT. I always support them. I admire their decisions. But I'm not going to wear this. Because this goes against my family beliefs. What is this? Oh, this is a goddamn conflict. The half of the society went, oh, he's an idiot. The other half said, wow, he's a wise guy, same supporters. And actually, I believe if you can go back yourself and search what happens, I think Wolfsburg presented themselves as a great organization. And that's why I think when I try to assess organization, what I do is ask a very simple question. What was the biggest internal conflict of opinions you had to solve in your organization? Surprisingly, very often I see people who are a bit shy and avoiding eye contact. They typically say, well, but we are so great team, we all understand each other without words, and so on and so forth. I mean, come on, bullshit. That's not possible. If we avoid conflicts, that is the very easy way to go away from the diversity. And when you talk about going away from the conflict, this is going away from the allowing them. This is going away from teaching people how to run in the conflict, how they have to behave in the conflict. So for me, organizations who can answer that question and have programs like teaching people how to deal in a case of conflict, how to reach compromises, how to manage conflicts, this is the real fact of a diversity organization for me personally, from my personal experience. And why I believe so? Well, you know, conflict is a very simple thing. Even with people, since we are IT industry, I will use that example. What we teach computers, you know, internet, you connect a very diverse devices from TVs to washing machines, whatever. They're very diverse, and they communicate each other. But what happens? At the second layer of the communication protocols, we embedded something we called collision domain. And this thing sit on top of collisions or conflicts. We tried before to avoid the conflicts. It was not possible. The performance wasn't there. The clear communication wasn't there. So the biggest communication system in the world we built, people built, are based on the communication, on the conflicts. So same for the diversity. And that's why I believe enabling conflicts is important. And what is the conflict? Conflict is resolving a conflict. It's about listening, understanding, be able to reach compromises, looking wider, respect people. And all this can be put in one word, and this word is wisdom. And that's why I believe organizations which values the diversity value is an act of wisdom for the organization, and all measurements we take around are just a fuel to the conflicts which challenge our wisdom. So for me, organizations don't look to the numbers, are much better if they have the wisdom piece. Having said that, dear ladies, you don't have to come and find your way into the IT industry. Your way was put already there by Ada. This is the lady who is sometimes nominated to be the first software programmer. Many ladies did a lot of wonderful things around these decades of IT industry. I don't want to say about the Java language itself being together by Kim. She did a great job putting the team together and manifesting this as a product outside there. So you are already here, and actually you're the one responsible to bring the wisdom to our organizations, and this is what we are waiting for. Thank you very much indeed. And before you're clapping your hands, I don't really deserve claps. I see several ladies, they work with me in Samsung. Can you stand up, all of Samsung ladies, please? Well, this is the faces, this is the beautiful faces behind our products. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Now, that was some good speaker, huh? Before I introduce another amazing speaker, I have a small public announcement to make, which is evaluate us, please. I mentioned it in the morning that we really count on you downloading our conference app, where you can evaluate all our workshops, mentoring session, you can evaluate the whole conference. And it is so important for us to get your feedback, because we really want to go an extra mile to make this conference even better next year. So thank you so much in advance for downloading the app. I clocked myself doing it. It takes literally 60 seconds to do it, and it means a world to us. So thank you in advance for doing it. Our next speaker is Senior Engineering Manager at Google, and she will talk about something very important, because especially women, especially those who become successful professionals, sometimes have a feeling that they don't really deserve what they themselves have accomplished. And this is what we call an imposter syndrome. It is a demon that really somehow takes over our heads sometimes. And Eva Maciej of Google will tell us what this syndrome really is and how she proposes that we should make friends with it. Eva Maciej. Hi. Thank you.
Imposter syndrome. How many of, whoa, what that is loud. How many of you heard about imposter syndrome before? Great, many of you. Not everybody. So for those who don't know, imposter syndrome is this psychological pattern where if a person has it, they think that the success they have is due to pure luck and not due to their skills or knowledge. They also have this internal fear that their colleagues will discover they are fraud and they don't really deserve the job or the success, the accomplishment they have. How many of you think that you have an imposter syndrome? All right. So good news is that you are not alone. Research shows that about 70% of people have an imposter syndrome in some time in their lives. I'm Eva Maciaś, and today I will tell you how I tricked Google into hiring me in the first place, then not firing me for 11 years, giving me 4 promotions, and trusting me with leading a team that builds UI for 6 major products for GCP platform, cloud platform. Actually, I'm joking a little bit. I wish I knew how I did it. I have no idea. Instead, I will tell you how I learned to live with my imposter syndrome, live happy life, build on that actually, and even be proud of myself. I think about imposter syndrome as this small creature that is sitting in my head and whispering things to my ear. For the first couple of years at Google, I heard the voice very, very clearly. You know nothing, they will find out, you will get fired. Until the day of July 12, 2013, when I discovered that imposter syndrome is a thing that people have. And I said, whoa, that is amazing. So nobody actually is going to fire me? It was just in my head? Great. I don't have it anymore. Whew, that was easy. I read about it a little bit, and I was like, what is all the fuss about this important? They say it's so difficult, like, so easy. What I didn't know, and at that day, I was senior software engineer at Google, 5 years or maybe even 6 years at Google. What I didn't know that day is that imposter syndrome is a very sneaky beast. It hides and it eats me from inside in a way I don't even realize it's there. And it's very effective because it takes a fact or my feeling and it manipulates it just a little bit, just enough to put me down and make me feel miserable. Here's one example. I read that strong and healthy people have this internal sense of value and accomplishment. They don't necessarily have to hear from anybody that they did a great job. They just know it. So how I used it learning. Since then, I started feeling guilty every time I heard something good about myself. I felt guilty because I enjoyed it. I felt it gives me energy. I felt I need it. So the voice I heard was, you are weak because you need an appreciation from outside. Every performance evaluation conversation with my manager was a nightmare. I was sick. A couple of books later, I'm really into self-awareness, learning about myself, about my feelings. So a couple of books later, I learned that actually different people are motivated by different things. Some have to do careful planning, set the goals. After they achieve the goal, they feel good. Some people are motivated by constant change and challenge. Some are by money and high position. And some are motivated by somebody else telling them they did a good job. And all of them are perfectly healthy and good. And I said, wow, that was weird, the thought I have, that I'm sick, that I'm not strong. So you, imposter syndrome, you are a sneaky beast. You hide in my inside and you eat me in a way that I don't even know you are there. So I said, I need to listen to the voice very carefully. And I started using this technique. I started noticing things. I started listening. And I used the technique that whenever I heard, you are weak because, I was just listening to the second part. Couple of more examples. You are weak because you won't get a help. For a long time, I thought that I have to do things by myself. Because, if I show that I don't know something, they will discover I know nothing and fire me. Until I learned that a lot of people, a lot of successful people, and actually the more successful they are, the more help they are getting. And also I was faced with the opportunities and challenges, opportunities that I thought are exciting, that I had a feeling that I will be good at, I want to do it, but I had no clue how to do them. So what do? Because I listened to the voice, I said, I want to get a help. Sure, I will get a help. So I got myself a mentor. I got myself even 2 mentors and a coach. And now whenever I have a challenge or frustration or problem, I go to the meeting and sometimes I don't even know what I want to talk about exactly. But I go and I put on the table my feelings, frustrations, my problems, and I say, I don't even know what that is. So help me look at this with me and tell me what you see. Usually, the mentors are very effective because they are people that have been in my role, in my position a couple of years ago, and usually they have pretty straightforward answer for me. The key to success in the mentoring relation for me is that I am 100% honest with myself and with the mentor. Another story is, I forgot, give me a second. Okay, I know. You are weak because you are so stressed before this meeting. I remember my first engineering review. This is a meeting when engineer presents their technical design and in front of senior engineers and managers, and they are giving feedback and approval or disapproval. I remember I was so stressed that I bought myself a bottle of this medicine that was supposed to make me calmer. But I was so stressed that I actually lost it before the meeting. When I came to Google for the interviews, I was so stressed that I almost, puked on the recruiter's shoes. Anyway, a couple of interviews later, I figured that nobody actually cares about my feelings in the meeting, and this is a great thing. The only thing that matters in the meeting is the work that I bring to the table, the technical work. And they don't care because they do not notice. I remember I talked to my colleague saying, look at me, my hands are shaking, my voice is breaking, I'm a mess. And he said that, you're not shaking, and your voice is fine, so what are you talking about? Like, oh, nobody knows. Great. And so I thought that the best thing I can do for myself is to make myself calmer so that I suffer less throughout the review. And I have 2 basic techniques. One is that I kind of ignore my feelings temporarily, saying to myself, you are very stressed, Eva. This is a very important meeting. And it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly okay to be stressed. You will take care of your feelings later, after the meeting. Sounds silly, but it works. The other thing I do, I learned from a wonderful researcher, Amy Cuddy. She discovered that you can actually trick your brain. She discovered that the posture influences how you feel, posture you have. So if you do this for like 2 minutes, your body starts producing cortisol, the hormone of stress. But if you do this, your body starts producing testosterone, a hormone of dominance. So if any of you saw me today doing like this, Freddie Mercury, we are the champions, that was me producing testosterone for this presentation. And every time I do it, it makes me laugh, so it works even better. You are weak because other people are so much better than you. That was a tough one, and I'm still learning. For a long time, I was scared of people that were smarter than me or knew more than me in some area, because I was sure, because they are so smart, they already know that I know nothing and I'm a fraud and I should be fired. And they are not telling me that just because they want to be nice to me. I also didn't like too much people that knew less than me in some areas, because I thought, like, really, if somebody knows less than me, then come on, you know, loser. I didn't very much like people back then. And this is because I wasn't sure where I was bringing the value, what I was good at, and how can I help the team, the organization. So I spent really quite a lot of effort trying to understand what are the things that I am good at, and how can I contribute to Google, and why actually I am getting the promotion and so on. I started listening on my perf evaluation conversation with my manager. I actually asked explicitly what they think I'm doing well. Knowing that helps me partner with other people that are very, very smart and know how I can help them do their job better. Because if we build a product, if we build something big, there are so many things we have to do. We have to talk to customers, we have to be very smart about technology, about working with other people, about working in the big group, about documenting, about going down for 2 weeks and solving this really super difficult technical problem. There is no single person on earth that can do all these things. So I can find a person that is good at the things that I'm not necessarily passionate about or I'm very good at, and I can do the things that I really know how to do, and together we can make a team. So knowing what I'm good at is very important because I can build on that, but I also recognize or spend time and effort to recognize what I am not good at in order to know who do I need in my team to partner with me to build the product. When I was preparing to this presentation, I thought that I will not be giving advices, but I really want to give one advice. And my advice will be good to yourself. Don't be too hard for yourself. It took me 11 years of being in an extremely caring and supporting environment to be able to recognize all these things and to be able to come out of stage today and talk about it. This presentation is a very big step for me in my self-development. It's okay to be stressed sometimes. It's okay to have no clue what to do sometimes. It's okay to ask for help. It's gonna be fine. Be good to yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is another Googler. She is Joanna Chwastowska, engineering coach and growth manager at DeepMind Health. She presents a combination of skills that are, I think, especially valued at events like this because she's both an engineer at heart, but she is also on a daily basis a manager. And she loves to explore human nature and to work with engineers to unfold their full potential. And she knows a secret I would love to find out about, because she will give us a quick guide on how to change the world. Let's please invite Joanna Chwastowska. Hey.
Whoa, so many of us. So happy to see that. Hello. By now, you probably realized that all the keynote speakers were asked to start their talk with the raise of hands. So I'll do the same. Can you please raise your hand if you feel internally that you want to change the world? Yes, let's change the world. Cool. Okay, so I'm Joanna Chwastowska. I'm one of the engineering leads on DeepMind Health team in London. And our team's mission is to change the world. I feel extremely privileged to be a part of that change. And you know, observing you here today and talking with a lot of people, I have this sense that most of us really want to change the world. If that is true, what is actually causing the world changing to happen so slowly? Why don't we see breakthroughs happening day to day? Why are we not, astonished by all the change happening all the time? And today, what I would like to share with you is a couple of thoughts around where I feel are the roadblocks on that world-changing attitude, and what each of us can do to actually be the part of the change. So by no means this is, official guideline. I think it's just a set of observations that I have collected up till now that I would want to share. To start with, there are so many problems worth solving. Even if we look at the healthcare space, there is so many problems to solve, especially if you've ever visited a doctor, if you ever have been, unfortunately, hospitalized. You, being a technical person, can have this sense, this feeling that there is so many things that can be improved. From, looking at what ML can do now, and, thinking about all the potential there is for early detection of the diseases, through actually directing the care where it's needed, when it's needed, and acting in a timely manner, to, preventive care, actually making sure that most of the people never end up in a hospital, if possible. So from the vast majority of the problems, how do we choose the ones that we will focus on? On our team, we are trying to answer two questions. First of all, is around the impact. So what are the things that we can focus on where we can, at the moment, make actual change, where we can help people and do something important? And then the second part is, what is our unique strength? So what is that we have on our team? What are the unique skills? What is the technology that possibly we have that we can apply to solving the problem, and through that make the important change? Coming back to healthcare, this is a very complex space. Not only because the healthcare on its own is a problematic, huge domain. People, do whole studies and specializations, and they spend 15, 20 years actually learning things about all the things that can go wrong with us humans. But moreover, this space is still very paper-driven. In UK, NHS is one of the biggest, buyers for fax machines, for pagers. For the ones who don't know what the pager is like a mobile phone 30 years ago. It has no other function than just telling you someone needs you, call the number. And I'm kidding you not, doctors are still carrying pagers with them. And when the help is needed, they will just say, they probably get out of the operation room, and they will have 10 numbers to call because there is 10 people needing their advice, how do they prioritize? How do they know whom to call first and where to direct the help? On our team, we decided to focus on a problem that is called acute kidney injury. When you are hospitalized, it may happen that you develop additional conditions while in hospital. Acute kidney injury is one of those conditions. The interesting facts about it is that it affects approximately 1.5 million people a year, a world, causing death. 100,000 deaths in UK alone, and 1/4 of those can actually be prevented if only detected and acted on early on. And if you think about what are the basic treatments for acute kidney injury, they are quite simple. If only the doctor knows that you have a problem, it's enough for them to provide you with fluids. A glass of water is a treatment. And it's enough for them to provide you with antibiotics, just to make sure that your body is protected, so nothing grows on top of your problems that you already have. And we have built and we have started to collaborate with UK trusts to build the application that allows us to detect in an algorithmical way by simply connecting to the hospital systems and analyzing the blood samples from patients. We can alert the doctor and tell them, please pay attention to this patient. They actually may be developing acute kidney injury. The patient is sick. Please help them. Yes. Oh, sorry. Changing the world is hard. I will dare to say you will not change the world alone. You will need a team of people to do something with them together. It's true since for the very first time, a group of people, long time ago, has agreed to collaborate to kill a mammoth. That was a very interesting invention. Up till then, animals were hunting alone. People were the first ones who can actually agree on a plan and act together. Mammoths were very surprised. So from then to taking a human being to the moon, all that history is the history of teams that have built something together. Teams of people who were strong because they had different skills, as Eva mentioned. None of us has everything it takes, but a group of us can probably have it all. And when it comes to teams, it's not only leaders and it's not only people who are building teams that are responsible for the strength of the team. Each single one of us is responsible for the decision, am I joining this team? Is this team for me? And when I'm thinking about the teams I'm joining, I try to evaluate them on different angles. I try to think about the values that the team represents. Do I want to be the part of this project? Do I want to be the part of this company, first and foremost? What is the decision process like? And you as a leader has to be aware of how are you making the decisions, because if you don't know how you are making decisions, you are probably very prone to all the biases, changing your mind, and being very inconsistent, which is not what you want. But even if you are a team member, you are also responsible for challenging and for asking hard questions and for understanding how are decisions made on our team? How do we reach the conclusions? How do we decide? And finally, there is the growth aspect of things. If you think about the imposter syndrome as one of the things that probably most of you will experience at some point, it's very important to know that around you there is a team. There is a team you can count on. There are people behind you that will support you when you have a worse day. But there is also a team that will drag you up, and they will show you how much you can grow, and they will challenge you, and they will enable you to become the best of what you can be. If you would tell me, like this 12, 15 years ago, that at any point I'll be actually having a title of engineering coach, I would laugh. Engineering coach is not something that you get to do graduating from computer science. I was a real person. I was actually doing the proper coding and stuff. At the same time, through my career, I realized that there is only that much I can do, and that I'm actually quite good at enabling others to achieve more. So for now, I'm really proud of being an engineering coach, because if I can build a team, if I can enable the team to achieve great goals, this is also a part of my contribution. It's important to realize that on the team, there is no such team as side roles, supportive roles. This is one of the things I was really impressed with when joining DeepMind. Every single person I talked with during the interview process, be that from the recruiter to the front of the house person to the top-level manager, each one of them felt they are a part of the team. They are actually contributing to the big mission that we have. This was super empowering. So never thought of yourself. Even if you are an intern, you are a very important part of the team. Learn to learn. There are so many things that didn't exist when I was graduating. I couldn't prepare myself for Android and iOS. They didn't exist. Blockchain wasn't a thing, and very many various other technologies. And that will be consistent with your experience as well. So just be prepared to learn, and for others, create this environment where they can learn. And challenge yourself. Do not think, I'm not what I want to be. Think how today I can get actually a step closer to being what I want to be. Okay, so we have the problem that we want to solve. We have the team that we can solve it with. Now, how do we get around solving it actually? And for me, the main learning from working on a healthcare space is that although it's very natural to us as software engineers to think we have all the answers, we probably don't have all the answers. If I start to use my intuition about how to lay out the UI or how to best present the information in the comfort of my room in an office where I probably had a good night's sleep, although probably not with my kids, but yes, in general, if I try to use my intuition, planning the product for people who will be working 40-hour shifts, will be using the product, we're making life decisions, having someone actually potentially dying next to them, my intuition probably will be wrong. So how we work is we bring all the users, we bring clinicians, we have them as a part of our team. And with them, we make decisions that enable us to create something that is natural for doctors and nurses to use in the clinical environment. And as our team says, do not focus on a solution. Fall in love with the problem. Do not think that when someone criticizes or suggests the improvements to your product, they hate your product. Focus on what the problem is that you are trying to solve. Can you use what they are telling you to actually make a better decision? Ask users, observe them, test your assumptions, and iterate. This way, you have a chance to actually produce something that people will love as a product. Finally, oh, sorry. Clicker decided to remove. Oh, okay, cool. If you think about DeepMind's mission, this is the thing that actually made me join the company. DeepMind's mission is to solve the intelligence and use it to make the world a better place. And when you have such a mission, it's very empowering on one hand. On the other, it can be really paralyzing because where do I start? How do I do it? What my learning is it's great to have a big mission, but you have to make first step. And after the first step, you have to make another step and never stop while making this progress. So figure out what is important for you and then just start acting. Changing the world will be hard. If you feel comfortable with what you're doing, you are probably doing it wrong. Challenge yourself, stretch yourself, put yourself at risk. It's okay to fail. I failed multiple times, and I will fail multiple times. As long as I learn from those failures, I'm actually becoming stronger and stronger with each of them. So I think changing the world is really possible. You just have to decide on the problem, build the team you will be solving the problem with, grow yourself and others, put user at the heart, at the center of what you are doing, and finally, move forward and keep moving forward no matter what. If we all do that, world will be a better place. A small bit forward every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joanna, for this. It was really inspiring. Our next speaker, and the last speaker of this session, is very special for many reasons. First of all, she flew in here today around 2 p.m., which is a short while ago, especially to share her very rich experience with us. So we are really excited to have her here. On a daily basis, she's based in Copenhagen, but she was born Polish, and she left Poland when she was only 3 years old. I spoke to her briefly before this session, and she speaks better Polish than I do, which is really impressive. I am excited to have her here on our behalf. She is Senior Vice President and General Manager for Central and Eastern Europe for Dell EMC. So her work covers 27 countries, including Poland, but also countries like Hungary, Romania, Czech Republic, Ukraine, and Israel, among other. And she's here to really open her soul and heart and memory for us and talk to us about how to manage your career in a new technology-driven age. Please help me welcome Anya Munrad.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be able to be the last speaker of what I've heard have been 2 amazing days. I'm sorry I couldn't be here, but I know my colleague Patricia Florisi was here yesterday and talked about technology and how we at Dell EMC see the future. And I've heard there have been amazing speakers throughout the days. I'm here because I'm successful. I'm pretty sure that not a lot of you would stand on a stage with hundreds of people and say that. And it took me a lot of years to get to a point where I felt comfortable getting on a stage and say, I'm actually a role model. I'm successful and I'm damn good at what I do. I've been through a lot of the thinking and a lot of the concerns and imposter syndromes and anything that probably goes through your head. Because I've been where you are just many, many years ago, and now I'm where I am today. So I lead a multi-dollar business across 27 countries. I've been in the IT industry since I graduated many, many years ago. And I want to talk to you a little bit about my own careers, my own mistakes, and some of the things that I've gone through. Because getting to this point where I am today is not all about success. It's not about, just doing everything fantastically. And the life that, I was told I flew in from New York this afternoon. I left home Tuesday last week. And I spent a couple of days in London. I had the weekend in Abu Dhabi. Then I flew for a meeting in New York and came here, and hopefully I will reach home, which is Copenhagen, Denmark, tomorrow afternoon. And it sounds super glamorous. And when I was in my beginning of my 20s, that was my dream. Traveling the world and just this very, very glamorous life. I can tell you it is trying to squeeze in a lot of liquids into small bottles so you can bring them through security, taking your shoes off and on all the time, and getting in and out of dirty taxis. That's what most of the time goes. But I love my job. I have the best job in the world. So let me talk to you a little bit about how I got there. I started off in digital. I started off in sales. I was a computer salesperson. And at that point of time, that was probably the worst you could be after being a used car dealer. So then computer sales was probably the worst, second worst you could be at that point of time. But I also, at that point of time, looked around and noticed that there wasn't many girls around. It was considered being a man's world. And I didn't really understand that, because I saw IT and technology as being something that could change the world. We heard about that just recently in the previous speak, and I really wanted to be part of changing the world. And it's taking a lot of time. In many, many years, IT enabled a lot of things, but it didn't really change the world. I think we are today at a point where IT is really changing the world. So I'm glad it took me many, many years. But I spent a couple of years in digital. Then I got acquired together with the rest of the company by Compaq. And I worked there for a couple of years, and I got to learning that, first of all, it's better to acquire somebody than being acquired. And I've used that learning when Dell and EMC merged a couple of years ago to try and see how can you make sure that you're inclusive and really focusing on bringing the best out of people. So we heard from Samsung earlier today how important inclusion is. So I learned that in that sense. But I spent a couple of years in Compaq, and then I got fired. And I was like, wow, I'm not really a person that you fire. I'm a person that leave when I don't want to be here. But I learned something of that, because I wasn't really happy at Compaq. And I spent a couple of years there being miserable. And I learned that if you're miserable in something, you should take your things and leave. And I was actually happy after a couple of days of crying and going, I am not somebody you fire kind of thing. Then I actually realized that that was a good thing for me to be fired. First of all, I realized that a lot of people wanted my services. There was a lot of people that said, hey, we would like to offer you a job. And that was a good learning, because I'm pretty sure that many of you who've never been through that experience of being fired, for you that must be the most scary thing in the world. But it's actually when you stand in the situation that you realize that, you know, there's a lot of people that value what you do, and there's a lot of opportunities out there, and sometimes being fired is not the worst that can happen for you. So for me, it was a great opportunity to try to think about what I wanted. And what I thought I wanted was to have a little bit of a quieter job. At that point of time, I was a manager. I've moved into marketing. I was managing a marketing organization. And I thought, I have a small child. He's a couple of years old. I don't want to travel. I'll take a kind of like a more relaxed job. So I joined Unisys. I was part of the management team of Unisys in Denmark. It was very nearby where I lived. And it sounded like a good opportunity. The problem was I'm just not fit for taking it easy and being home at 5 o'clock and not traveling. And after a couple of months, I felt really, really bored, and I felt that I wasn't being used and it wasn't the right decision. So again, after a couple of months, I decided to, this time myself, to quit. And when I interview people, I often see that there is one job that's a short job. And I often ask them, so what was your decision of joining? Why did you stop or quit that job? And I think it's a good experience, and it learned me that if it's not the right thing, it's probably not going to become right just by staying. And it wasn't the right thing. I went home, we redecorated the whole house. My husband was so tired of me because I came home every day and I didn't really feel used. So he said, you have to go and find something else to do. So I did. After 3 months in Unisys, I moved on, and not a bad word about Unisys, it just wasn't the right match. So I moved on to Dell, and this is now almost 19 years ago. If somebody had said 19 years ago, you're going to stay in the same company that many years, I would have said, never ever. You know, you have to move on, you have to get new experiences. But what I really learned there was that you can get the same experiences of change and development in one company if you choose the right company. And in the whole career development is really a marathon. It's not a sprint. Right? So you get a lot of small sprints, but they add up to become a very, very long marathon. So I've been at Dell Technologies, which it is now, for almost 19 years. I've been in marketing, I've had European roles, I've had global roles, and for the last 5 years, I've had 5.5 years, I've had the honor of lead the combined Dell EMC business in Central Eastern Europe. Every single time I've changed a job, if you look at my CV, if you check me out on LinkedIn, you're going to see that there's a lot of things where you would go, but why did she change to that? Why did she change to that? And every single time I've really looked at what can I learn and what can I contribute with? And make sure that the balance between your contribution and your learning is there. I've been offered jobs where I could contribute a lot. And I even get offered jobs today, both inside and outside of the company, where I can contribute a lot today, but I'm not going to learn anything. And then I'm going to turn that opportunity down. You know, there may be one time your boss is going to come and say, hey, I need you to do this for me. I know you're not going to learn a lot, but I need you to step in. Go do that. But for the most of it, find the balance between learning and contributing. And when somebody comes to me and say, hey, I want to come and work for you, and I ask why, and they say, because I really want to learn whatever you do. And I'm like, but what are you going to contribute with, and what can you do here? And they say, not a lot. Then we have a little bit of discussion about finding the right balance, but keep learning every single time. And every single time I've changed, I did not really know a lot about what I did, what my new job would be. So we spoke about the imposter syndrome before. I want to talk about something else, which is Pippi Longstocking. I don't know how many of you know Pippi Longstocking. I think she's called Pippi Longstrump in Polish. It's an Astrid Lindgren Swedish writer that invented her. And what Pippi says is, I've never tried it before, so I must be good at it. And I think that's the best way of expressing it, right? If you haven't tried it, why would you assume that you're not good at it? Assume you're going to be the best in the world to do it. And when I was offered my job as leading the region 6 years ago, I came from a global role in marketing. I've never led a sales organization. And I'm pretty sure I got the job partly because I was a woman. And I don't think that's a problem. I actually think that when I look at my teams and I put my teams together, sometimes I would select a man, a woman, an older person, a younger person, because that's the right thing to do for the team, because that's the right thing to do for the job. The fact that I then, when I came in, being a woman, would what I would call kick ass and be the best of all of my colleagues, that's a different thing. But I know my boss got me that job because he had no women at his leadership team managing a sales organization at that point of time, and he needed somebody to do that. But that does not mean necessarily that it wasn't good and he didn't believe that I could add a lot of value to that organization. So look at, again, the opportunities of getting in and learning something. Also make sure, you know, you take some risks sometimes. Sometimes, you know, if the job is very, very perfect, you can probably only mess it up. So then go in and take some of the opportunities where there is something to clean up. So along all of these different years, it really got me thinking around diversity and inclusion. Because in many of the settings, I've been the only female that have been sitting around the table. And you can say, does that really matter? And I believe that we need a society, we need organizations, we need teams that are mixed. We don't need it because it was the legal thing on the diversity slide that we saw previously. We need it because we will get better outcomes if we have different opinions. And we need inclusion more than diversity, because you can put a table together with a lot of diverse minds, but if you don't let them express themselves, then it's not really going to bring the best to the table. So when I can see a lot of younger faces here. When I was in your age, I would be in trainings that would teach women to be working in a male society. It was let's fix the women training courses, right? So we would be trained in what to wear, how to walk, what to do with your hair. Luckily, we've moved along very, very much from that on. So where we are today is really trying to teach organizations how to embrace minorities. You wouldn't normally call females a minority, but how you would embrace minorities, how you would ensure inclusion, how you would make sure that the majority, the ones that have the privilege, the ones that has the power, understand what it is to be on the other side. So that's what we're focusing on right now, ensuring that you can come to work with whatever you are and bring the whole of yourself to work. And that's where the most important thing is. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of comments. In the end, we need women to join IT. And we need it for multiple reasons. But IT is going to create the future. You've heard that throughout the 2 days here. And if we don't have women sitting at the table, just like we heard at Google, in engineering some of that future, the future is going to be seen through the eyes of a young man. And probably a young white man, because those are the ones that are creating most of technology today. So we need you to join the business so that the future that we create in healthcare, in education, in many other areas, are seen by a diverse set of eyes. Because AI, machine learning, all of these things starts with algorithms. And if those algorithms are not seen from a diverse perspective, then what comes out in the other end is not going to be diverse. So I know you're going to have a long career in IT in front of you, but in the end, just remember that no matter what, and I love my job, is just a job. So you have your life, and make sure you wake up in the morning and you're happy about what you do, because if you're not, go do it somewhere else before somebody tells you that you're fired. Okay? So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Anja. The last keynote speaker of Women in Tech Summit 2018. There are still workshops that will take place, but this was the last plenary session of this conference, of this summit. And we decided to move the closing ceremony from 6 o'clock until now, since we have all of you gathered in the room, which finalizes my modest role as your host. And I thank you so much for being with me. You're wonderful. Thank you. And it is my great honor and pleasure to invite to the stage Bianca Siwińska.
Oh. 100 years ago, exactly on the 28th of November 1918, Polish women gained the right for voting. Isn't this amazing? Exactly 100 years ago. But it wasn't just given to them. The leader of the country, Marshal Piłsudski, actually he didn't want to give it to them. So women fighting for the rights, called suffragettes, just went to his home, to Sulejówek, with their umbrellas, and they were knocking on his windows so long that finally he agreed to sign the voting rights for women. And this is the point, actually, that we need to act. We need to be together. We need to meet. We need to mentor each other. We need to expand our knowledge. We need to be together. So thank you so much for being here with us at the Perspective Women in Tech Summit this year. And I want to invite you for the next year edition for the Perspective 2019. And now, I have a very big pleasure to invite on the stage people who created the Women in Tech Summit, the whole team of Perspective Education Foundation, and our volunteers. Please show yourself. Come on. Come on, guys and girls. Please. I will just name some of them. This is Joanna Cooper. She's the head of this project. Big applause for Joanna. Artur Kawa, Sandra Wiktorko, Bartek Więckowski, technical director of this event. Bartek Szuryga, IT guy for this event. Joanna Marszałek, she's responsible for communication, social media, pizza. Gosia Szyszko, coordinator of students, volunteers. Anna Kamińska, responsible for the whole program, all the agenda, speakers, workshop. Marlena, responsible for all hotels, accommodation, buses. Krzysztof Malerowski, our logistic officer. Darek Tula, responsible for also very beautiful logistic. Edyta Tarnowska, she brought all these beautiful flowers here, like this one, that we could enjoy it. Anna Szkutnik, responsible for exhibitors. Maria Olszewska, she was responsible for all girls from East. Thank you so much. And our beautiful volunteers, thank you so much. Students from the all Polish universities, thank you very much for your great job, great work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gosia, Bożenka, Andrzej, Ania, our beautiful volunteers again. We have also Guy, you see? He also volunteered. Thank you so much. So it's beautiful work. Music, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, hello. To z wczoraj. Dzięki bardzo. Dzięki bardzo, dziewczyny. Bardzo wam dziękuję. Dzięki bardzo. Dzięki. And our beautiful host. Show yourself. Photograph. Photographs also. Camera guy. Thank you. And this is the end for now. Chyba musimy to... We need to finish this now. Thank you. Big applause for you, for the beautiful audience. Thank you so much. See you next year. Idziemy. Powiedz jeszcze teraz zapraszamy na warsztat Galupa. And now... O, nie mogę powiedzieć. Nie mogę nic powiedzieć.
Powiedz, żeby zostali, bo jest
Pasja.
Hey guys, please don't go, because we have a special thing for you. I'm sorry. We kind of forgot that we have one more thing. But please, I want to invite you for a very last main slot. We have a special surprise for you. And what we are going to talk about is about discovering your potential and discovering your talents. We have amazing experts here who will have a workshop in 30 minutes about discovering your potential using Gallup methodology. But we want to give it to you all, so we want you to listen a bit more about just to end on a happy note about how amazing your careers can be and how to use your full potential. So please stay now, and we're just inviting our speakers. Give us 1 minute.
Jestem podpięta, ale widzę, że ludzie wyszli. Co mam zrobić? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Ja sama chętnie wysłucham o Galupie, bo to jest
Okej,
po
super.
prostu ci ludzie zostali.
Okay.
Wiele osób, które zostało.
Hello, hello. Psz,
Tak,
psz.
to proszę.
Yeah,
pani.
okay.
Tak, teraz.
Hello, everybody. I see that some people are leaving, but some people are staying. Those who are staying, please take a seat, because I have quite amazing and interesting things for you to share. Are we ready to go? The best women in IT in Europe. Are we ready to go with this knowledge? Okay. No. I'm not going to start this way. Are you ready to listen to the most exciting, engaging, and life-transforming research, news, and formula for your life and for your fulfillment? Okay, now I can start. I am so privileged and happy to be with you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for coming here from all these different spots from Europe. So, you know, Mark Twain said many, many years ago that there are two most important days in a person's life. First day is when you were born, when you appeared to this planet Earth, when you started breathing, looking around for the first time. But what is the second day? What is the second day? When is the most important second day in life? He was thinking about this quite long, and then he said that the most important second day in your life is when you know why you were born. Does that make sense? Because you know you can go through life wandering around,
meeting some people, doing some work, even achieving something, but never really living. Because to live, you need to know about yourself at least 3 components, at least 3 amazing steps, which I'm going to share with you. I will share with you the Genius Formula, which was discovered by TLNC Global in cooperation with Gallup Institute. And by the way, do you know who Gallup is? I hope you do, because a few days ago I was talking to a group of people in a very little town in Poland, and I asked exactly the same question. Do you know what Gallup is? And one lady raised a hand at the end of the room, and she said, yeah, I know, for sure. It's, you know, galloping the horse. And I said, yeah, we'll do some galloping, but this Gallup I'm going to talk to you about is a little bit different. Gallup is the biggest research institution in the world, and it started from one man's dream. Because all amazing and incredible things, they start from the dream. And George Gallup's dream was to know other people's dream. So one day, he came out of his home, he took a notepad and a pen, and he made a decision. I will go and I will talk to every individual I will meet on the street, and I will ask them one question: what is your dream? And this is what he did. Days went by, and after many, many days, a lot of people joined him. And they started asking people together, what is your dream? What do you love? What do you like? What makes you tick? What makes you alive? What makes you feel that you want to achieve? What helps you to achieve? And by today, Gallup has access to 5 billion people around the globe. So basically, anything you want to know about IT, you can ask Gallup, they will ask 5 billion, and you will know what will happen in the future. Okay? And one day, Don Clifton, when he came back from the Second World War, he started to think, and he was working for the Gallup. Why is it so that since the 14th century, people are trying to find the cure for happiness by researching depression? Why are they doing this? It doesn't make sense. And then he decided that if we want to understand how to be fully happy, how to be fully engaged, we need to research happy and engaged people. People like you here. Are you with me? Okay, I'm happy. Nobody is sleeping. Everybody who stayed, they are with me. So since that day, they decided in Gallup, we will research and talk to people who have success. And then what they discovered is that every individual on earth, and if you leave from this speech knowing just this one thing, I am sure that it can transform your life. Every individual on earth has a talent. You, as you sit here, you have something to offer to the world. And it's unique only to you. Nobody on the planet Earth has the same thing as you have. And now you're sitting and thinking, no, what is she talking about? Talent? I don't sing like Adele. I don't draw like Picasso. I don't know, if people start thinking this, I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't have a talent. But what if a talent is the way you shake a hand? A talent is the way you speak, is the way you make other people feel around you. They discovered more than 400 talents on humankind. And just for you to know and to share that the talent is nothing more than a neural connection which is occurring and developing in your brain when you're a little child. From the 0 years of age till the 16th, when you are becoming a teenager, every experience you have, every relationship you have, everything you love and touch and talk about, this is how your neural connections are created. Action and the third together. If you combine those two, feeling and thinking, and then doing something about it, you will have a habit. Those habits, they live and are born in your brain. This is the way we work. This is the way we are created. So by today, everybody who sits in this room, you have at least 5 to 10 unique to you gifts and talents. But the question is, are you using them? Are you at the place in your career where you can be who you truly are? This is very important. And the Gallup again did a huge research. So they went to people around the globe. Out of those 5 billion, around 3 of them are actively working. Not 7 billion of people are working, you know that, right? Only about 3 billion are actively engaged at work. So they asked them, are you happy at work? Are you using your gifts? Are you engaged? How is your life? And we've got a result. So I'm asking you now to guess. How do you think, when the Monday comes and people start to go to work, how many % of them around the globe are happy to go to work? How many are saying, oh my gosh, weekend? I don't need weekends. I'm waiting for Monday. How many %? Just guess. 5, 18, 16, 7, 1. Okay, I can see you are from IT. Okay. So, 15% of people are happy to go to work. 15% of people are highly engaged, are fully engaged in what they do. Why? Because at their work, they're using their talents and gifts. So they feel good. And imagine 85% of people, when the Monday comes, they go, oh no, again. And that's why we're doing the work we're doing, and that's why I'm standing here. And that's why a little bit later today, we will have a workshop for 100 of you on your talents and gifts, because we believe in TLNC Global that this knowledge can transform your life. First, if you understand that you have something to use and to offer, and that will make you efficient, happy, successful, and joyful, which is the most important. And secondly, you will find the place on earth where you fit in, where you don't need to wear masks. But talents is not the end. I'm wondering if I go to this flip chart, yeah, you will see, because you will see, okay, I'll go here because I need to write something. Do you want to know what is the formula for your inner genius? What is the formula to find your true why am I here? Do you want to know that? Do you want to learn it? Okay, cool. Okay. So first thing, and this is the Gallup discovery, is that you have your talent, okay? Oh. Talent. If you combine your talent, your ability to deliver, your ability to be achiever, your ability to have joy, because talents are in your brain, and every time you use them, endorphins are produced. That's why we naturally know what we love. But apart from talents, we need to know our values. Because you can be efficient, you can be effective, you can do an amazing job, you can be an achiever. They will love you at work, they will promote you. But if you break your values, at one point of your life, you will wake up and you will ask, looking at the mirror, who is this person? Is it me? I don't feel like myself any longer. Values matter. Values are things like your family, like your hobby, like something you love. It's something what defines who you truly are. But that's not the end. Talent plus value plus your inner dream. If you know these 3 things about yourself, and when I say dream, I don't mean buying a new car, number 3. I don't mean buying new iPhone X or whatever. I mean the dream you were dreaming when you were at the age of 3 or 12. The dream, which is more the task for you to be on the planet Earth. The destination, okay? If you combine those 3, you will have the answer, why am I here? You will have your mission statement. I hope you can see this. Can you see what I'm writing here? Yeah? Mission. So now you will know the answer to the question only few people know. Who am I? Why am I here? And by the way, most of those people, we all know them. Like Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Steve Jobs. People who transformed our planet, who transformed the way we live lives. And many, many of those. We are living in the times where each and one of us can have a huge impact on the lives of our people. But now you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, we're not in heaven, dreaming, talents, values, what is she talking about? If you know this, but you do nothing with this, you just have knowledge, it wouldn't help. So you have to transform your talents, which is your raw potential. Oh my gosh, it's not writing. Okay, let me try another one. Okay, it has to be in red. You have to transform your talents, your potential, into your strengths. Strengths. What is the difference? What has to occur between you having a talent and you having a strength? What is in between here? Action. It's action. Because if I know that I'm a good speaker, but I never speak, it'll be just me who knows I'm a good speaker. Okay? If you know that you are amazing with people, you can help them, you can listen to them, you can be, you can transform a company with your ideas. You're a good analysis, but you never share your ideas, you never act on them, they are dead. So between talent and the strength, there is an action. But then what do we do with values? We transform our values into day-to-day rituals, something you do on a day-to-day basis. So it's a ritual. And a dream, many people say, and the world believes, that I'm an adult. You're dreaming? Adults don't dream. No, they do. Those who are alive, they do dream. And they do transform the world, and this is what the research shows. I'm here from a research company, by the way. I'm not a poet. Okay? So the dream, to make it help, to make it alive, has to be transformed into a goal or a strategy. Because what is the difference between goal and a dream? What is the difference? Goal is a dream with a date of realization. Once you know when and how you want to accomplish something, your dream became a goal. But very often, to come to the end of your dream, you need to create a strategy, steps how to follow. So talents plus values plus dream, this is your mission statement. This is your why am I here? Once you know this, you start acting on this. You start living it out. You start shining your light to the world. And then your strengths plus your rituals plus your goals and strategies working together, they create your inner genius. And at the end of the day, if you live like this, you will be fulfilled and full of joy, individual. Because the word for the century we are living in is not success. In the 20th century, success was the most important word. I need success, I need this, I need that, I need to touch, I need the material. The new word for success is fulfillment. And fulfillment is success plus joy. I have what I wanted to have, and while achieving it, I have joy. Joy is a feeling, it's an inner feeling from your heart, which is possible only if you combine these things. Because as the saying says, which I love, and we are almost done, how would it help you if you gain the entire world but lose yourself? It wouldn't make sense. So following the Gallup research, which is about talent, we created in TLNC Global this entire formula for human fulfillment and success plus joy. So I wish you today and for the rest of your life to follow your dreams, to remember your values because they define who you truly are, and to unlock and find your talents, because without these things, nothing matters. Thank you so much. Thank you. And in just a few, okay.